What if the bones buried in forgotten caves hold the key to unlocking your own DNA? What if the brutish cavemen we've mocked for centuries weren't extinct relics, but living echoes in your blood, whispering secrets that could shatter our understanding of humanity's dawn? Right now, as you watch this, scientists are piecing together a genetic puzzle that's not just ancient history, it's your history. And the revelations? They're stranger than fiction. Welcome to Wild Ancestral Glow, where we dive deep into the untamed roots of our species. Today, we're unraveling the bizarre truth hidden in Neanderthal DNA, a discovery that's forcing us to rethink where we all came from. Buckle up. This isn't just a story of the past. It's a wake-up call to the wild ancestry glowing within you. For over a century, Neanderthals have lingered in the shadows of our collective imagination, like ghostly figures from a prehistoric nightmare. Picture this: stocky bodies hunched against biting winds, broad noses sniffing the air for prey, and those unmistakable heavy brows framing eyes that scanned icy horizons. They weren't monsters or myths. They were us, almost. Close enough to recognize as kin, yet different enough to spark endless debate. Fossils unearthed from the rugged cliffs of Spain to the frozen expanses of Siberia paint a vivid portrait of a people who mastered fire, crafted intricate tools, and hunted mammoth beasts in a world gripped by relentless ice ages. But for generations, we've dismissed them as evolutionary dead ends, primitive brutes doomed to fade into oblivion, their story ending in desolate caves with nothing but scattered bones and fading echoes. That narrative? It's crumbling. Modern science, armed with the revolutionary power of ancient DNA analysis, is exposing a far more intricate and unsettling truth. These genetic fragments, painstakingly extracted from fossilized teeth and bones, aren't just relics. They're time capsules bursting with revelations. They don't spin a simple tale of triumph and tragedy. Instead, they weave a labyrinth of origins that's tangled, surprising, and intimately tied to every one of us alive today. Neanderthals aren't gone. They're woven into the fabric of modern humanity, their legacy pulsing through our veins. And the strangest part? Their true beginnings aren't pinned to one map or one moment. They're a sprawling saga of migrations, mergers, and mysteries that span continents and challenge everything we thought we knew about our shared past. Let's start by confronting the myths head-on. Textbooks once portrayed Neanderthals as knuckle-dragging savages, barely scraping by in a harsh world until smarter, sleeker Homo sapiens, us, swept in and wiped them out. But archaeology tells a different story. At sites like La Pharisee in France or Shanidar Cave in Iraq, we've found evidence of sophisticated lives. Stone axes honed to razor sharpness, hearths glowing with controlled fire, and even burials adorned with flowers, suggesting rituals and empathy. These weren't mindless beasts. They were survivors, innovators who adapted to climates that would crush modern humans without technology. They split bones for marrow, fashioned clothing from animal hides, and perhaps even created art. Think of the etched eagle talons found in Croatia, hinting at symbolic thinking. Yet, amid all this, one burning question has haunted scientists. Where did they truly come from? The earliest fossils, dating back over 400,000 years, cluster in Europe, leading early scholars to crown it as their ancestral cradle. Glaciers sculpted their sturdy frames. The theory went, short, muscular bodies built for conserving heat in frozen tundras. But as digs pushed eastward, into the Middle East and beyond to Central Asia, cracks appeared in that tidy European origin story. Bones from Israel's School Cave blurred the lines between Neanderthals and early modern humans, while Siberian finds extended their range thousands of miles. Suddenly, the map expanded, and so did the debates. Was Africa the real starting point, given our shared roots with all hominins? Or was it a vast Eurasian expanse, where nomadic bands roamed and evolved in isolation? These questions simmered for decades, fueled by fossil shapes and tool typologies. But the game changer arrived with ancient DNA technology in the late 20th century. Imagine drilling into a fossil tooth, no bigger than your thumbnail, and pulling out genetic code that survived hundreds of thousands of years. It's like reading a diary written in molecules. The first Neanderthal genome, sequenced in 2010 from a Croatian cave, was a bombshell. It confirmed what fossils hinted at. Neanderthals and modern humans diverged from a common ancestor around 500,000 to 600,000 years ago. That ancestor likely wandered the savannas of Africa and the fringes of western Eurasia, a shadowy figure giving rise to multiple human branches. One branch stayed in Africa, evolving into us, Homo sapiens, with our lighter builds and expansive brains. The other ventured north, braving the cold to become Neanderthals. But this split wasn't a clean break. Populations overlapped, intermingled, and exchanged genes in ways that defy simple timelines. Take the Cima de los Huesos site in northern Spain, a yawning pit that's yielded over 6,000 bones from at least 28 individuals, dating to about 430,000 years ago. These skeletons scream proto-Neanderthal, robust jaws, pronounced brow ridges, and facial structures foreshadowing the classic Neanderthal look. Yet, when scientists cracked their DNA code, anomalies emerged. The nuclear DNA, the bulk of the genome, aligned squarely with later Neanderthals. But the mitochondrial DNA, passed solely through mothers, bizarrely mirrored that of Denisovans, an enigmatic sister group discovered far east in Siberia. This mismatch isn't a glitch. It's evidence of ancient entanglements. Perhaps an early interbreeding event introduced Denisovan-like mitochondria into Neanderthal lines, persisting for millennia. Or maybe a lost population bridged the two, their genes flowing like underground rivers. Whatever the case, it demolishes the notion of isolated evolution. Neanderthal's story was already a mosaic, pieced together from diverse ancestors, long before they dominated Eurasia. Expanding on this, let's delve deeper into the timeline. Around 600,000 years ago, as Earth's climate cooled into the Pleistocene epoch, hominin groups fragmented. Volcanic eruptions, shifting seas, and megafauna migrations created barriers and opportunities. Our common ancestor, perhaps Homo heidelbergensis, split. One lineage hunkered down in Africa, adapting to diverse ecosystems from deserts to rainforests. The other pushed into Eurasia, facing brutal selection pressures. Winters that lasted months, predators like saber-toothed cats, and scarce resources forged the Neanderthal physique. Barrel chests for lung capacity, powerful limbs for hunting, and even larger brains than ours in some cases, possibly for enhanced sensory processing. But isolation bred diversity. Neanderthal DNA isn't monolithic. It's split into eastern and western clades, like branches of a gnarled tree. Western Neanderthals, from sites like Vindia Cave in Croatia or El Sidrón in Spain, show genetic signatures tuned to Europe's forested valleys and coastal plains. They hunted deer and horses, gathered berries, and weathered milder swings in climate. Eastern counterparts, hunkered in Siberia's Altai Mountains, endured harsher steppes, preying on bison and woolly rhinos. Genomes from the Denisova cave reveal these groups diverged tens of thousands of years ago, yet occasional reunions, spurred by thawing ice, allowed gene flow. Consider the Chajorskaya cave individual, a Neanderthal from southern Siberia whose DNA surprisingly aligns more with Western Europeans than local Altai kin. This suggests massive population turnovers. Waves of migrants sweeping east, displacing or absorbing locals. Climate was the puppet master here. During glacial maxima, ice sheets locked northern routes, isolating groups into refugia, pockets of survival in southern Europe or the Caucasus. When interglacials warmed the land, corridors opened, vast grasslands teeming with herds, drawing bands across thousands of miles. The Caucasus Mountains stood as a pivotal gateway in this drama. Towering peaks that could divide, but valleys and passes that connected east and west. DNA traces show this region as a genetic melting pot, where lineages clashed and blended. One era might see eastern genes dominating, only for western migrants to reclaim it later. Mitochondrial lineages vanish and reappear, hinting at maternal wipeouts, perhaps from disease, conflict, or environmental catastrophes. This isn't static evolution. It's a dynamic dance, Neanderthals as nomads in a world of flux. To grasp the scale, imagine trekking from the Atlantic shores of Portugal to the Ural Mountains, over 5,000 miles of varied terrain. Neanderthals did this, not as conquerors, but survivors following food sources. Mammoth migrations dictated their paths, leading to chance encounters that refreshed gene pools. But this adaptability came at a cost. Small group sizes, often just 20 to 50 individuals, fostered inbreeding. The Altai Neanderthal genome reveals runs of homozygosity, stretches where DNA is identical from both parents, signaling close-kin matings like half-siblings. Over time, this eroded resilience, making them vulnerable to mutations and diseases.